Hello there. This is Jen with Laughing Lotus Wellness, purpose expert. And what I wanted to do is talk to you briefly today about boundaries. Oh my God. Does anybody feel me? Can we just get a hell yes? Oh my God. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you briefly about one of my favorite ways of teaching clients over the years about boundaries. And it's just super clear. I'm going to do you a little solid. I'm going to draw you a picture. Okay. So here's what I want you to understand, okay? Really simplistic terms. And by the way, when I do this, do not be offended. This is actually how I learn. So if you're a real visual person, you're like, I get you. Okay, here we go. Boundaries 101, you ready? Okay. So this one up here, and I always call this the line in the sand, right? The proverbial one, you know what I'm talking about? Okay, so that's the one we're going to talk about. So when we have healthy boundaries, you'll see this arrow goes right up to and does not go over. And this is what this indicates here is two people. Okay. We're both walking up to that line in the sand and I go, oh, good. Okay, great. I see you there. This is where I begin and end. That's where you begin and end. Solid. Good. Let's move on, right? That's great. Okay, that's healthy boundaries. And this one, not so much. And what you can see is that we're starting to move into each other's space. Okay. Now we're going to talk about how we do this. And we're going to talk about the different ways that that shows up. So I want to talk about first and foremost, one of the single most common emotions you're going to feel and experience when your boundaries are not in alignment. And are you ready for it? Drum roll, please. Resentment. A bama lama ding dong. Anybody ever have resentment? Anyone? No, just me. Okay, so here's what I'm going to tell you. This is how it shows up. It shows up as resentment. We'll kind of have this sense of like someone reaches out, for example. Let's give a good example because like I'm a big story fan. So I'm going to go to a function and I'm going to, let's say it's a holiday party and I am going to be doing a bunch of stuff up to the time that I have to go. Like it's a really busy morning. Okay. Let's use Thanksgiving, right? I used to back in the day, I used to run on Thanksgiving morning. Okay. Okay. So let's just say I was doing that. Okay. For example, and then I had this holiday function I was going to go to. I wasn't hosting it. I was going to be going to it. Total, like, mythical experience here. So I'm going to go. So I am going to get up in the morning. I'm going to be busy. Okay. And someone says to me, who's hosting, hey, Jen, would you mind, could you maybe bring the turkey? And you're like, oh, what? Right. So now I've got this text. It's in my hands. I'm like, right. Did anybody just have a palpitation? And you're like, what? The turkey? Okay. Right. And I'm like, holy shit, how in the hell am I going to do a run, a 5K or whatever? A walk, a brisk walk. Okay, no. So we're going to do a run. How am I going to have time to do turkey? I'm not. And then I'm in, shoot, what do? Do I say yes? Because if I say yes, that's fine for them and they're going to be cool, but I am going to be pissed because I don't know how to juggle doing a turkey and a run and getting home and taking care of all the things, get myself ready and get into the holiday. Have you been there? Okay, just using Thanksgiving is the thing. But I just want to put it out there that this is kind of how it happens that I'm pissed. I have a sense of being put upon. Do you feel that? Have you had this experience? Share with me below. Have you had this experience? Come on. You know you have. We all have. So I had this experience and I go, what the heck? Okay. I can't do all that. But here's me. Ready? Are you ready? Sure, I can make that work. How big of a turkey should I bring? And then I'm like, oh, right. That's not radical self-care. Okay. That's not radical self-care. The minute that I allow this space, now look at your friend. Let's just say it's a friend. I don't, whoever your family friend. Let's just say your friend is the one that invited you. She maybe doesn't know. She doesn't think about your run. She doesn't think about how busy, how chaotic. She's not thinking about that. So listen, it can be that one person crosses a line or both of us. And so in the initial situation, just our friend does when she goes, hey, she doesn't know it, right? It's our experience of it. She doesn't know necessarily. She might not be putting it together. But if I say yes, when it's a loud and firm no, I'm now in the camp with her. Ooh, you can see where we're going here. Oh, and I am pissed. Have you done this? Come on. Can we just have a confessional? I wish I had a black box I was sitting right now, you know what I'm saying? With like the like interview lights from back in the 50s movies, you know, with the police officers and the thing is swinging. Let's talk about it. We've all been there. We've all been there. And all of us have said yes when it was a hard no. And we knew in our hearts, it was like, this isn't going to work for me. And then we are pissed and hurt and disappointed. Okay. That's one example. So resentment, I always want you to watch for that one because that is the biggest tell. There's others, but that is the biggie that you go, what? Why am I going to be the one to do that? Okay. Oh, you know, someone is stepping over a line. And again, what I want you to remember is the person on the other end of that may not know they're pressing into your boundaries. It is your job to make that clear to someone else. Okay. And that's hard. That's hard. That's a whole nother little video, but that's hard. And I understand that. I respect that. Been there, done it. I have been the person who I'm sure has trampled on someone's boundaries. I have also been the receiver of said boundaries. And I've had to say, right. So over the years, I have gotten better going, gosh, you know what? Yeah, I really feel that you could use that support with the turkey. And I just got to be honest with you, my dear. I am running a race that morning. I'm really worried about the timing of all of that. I want to support and help. I'm happy to do something for Thanksgiving. Could we come up with a creative solution so that I'm not trying to juggle something that really doesn't fit for my day? Hello, self-care? Yeah. Yep, they're calling. They want you. Okay, good boundaries. Yep. Bad boundaries called and they want it back. Okay, good. So you get what I'm saying, right? So here we are. This is what we need to do. We need to develop this system for setting boundaries for ourselves and lovingly saying no, or lovingly saying, gosh, that doesn't work for me. And can we think of something else? This is what we need to do for ourselves. Okay. But boundaries come in different forms. So I'm just going to go through this and we're going to trip through it because this is not a long video. I just wanted to create something that was like, you know, just a little cha, particularly with the holidays coming. All of us need these reminders and self-love to like hold space for this and make sure that we're stepping into that hard yes or hard no. Like when I just instinctively know, when you instinctively read something and someone's making a request or someone says or does something and your instant one goes, you know, you have to listen. Energetically, it can feel like a little jolt. Like you'd be like, oh, like there's that, like almost like a, honestly, like a lean away, like a push away. I would say you'll have that sensation. You'll know, you'll like be a little bit maybe resentful, irritated, but like that's the emotions. And the thoughts would look like, you know, I don't have time for that. How am I going to make that work? What do you mean you're asking me to do this thing? Okay, those are all the right. But then there's also going to be this, whoa, this sense of wanting to whoosh, throw up a shield. These are how we start to know that our boundaries are actually being violated. And then we have to choose what we're going to do with that. So you are so crucial in this journey. It isn't just telling people how they're going to fix their stuff. It's really about you having that self-care ability to say to someone, gosh, you know what? I really hear that. I really want to help. And that piece that you're asking me just doesn't really work for me. What else can we do? Okay. So we have boundaries in all the areas of our lives, my friends. So the other thing that's really tricky about them is like, they look like, you know, the physical ones are the easy ones. Okay. In another country in Europe, they might do the mwah, mwah, right? Well, they might not be doing that anymore because, you know, the pandemic, but right back in the day, that was really natural. That now in our country, someone would be like, whoa, okay. Well, have you ever had this happen? Ever had somebody just come up and like, just throw around and you're like, whoa, right? Okay. Physical ones are easy. Okay. That really touching people without asking is kind of just not a great idea. Okay. It's just not a great idea. I used to see this in my therapy office because we don't know where someone's been. We don't know someone's story. And so I'm really clear. And I was always like, you know, just truly, unless you know someone and know where they've been, it's so smart to just say, hey, is it okay if I give you a hug? Or, you know, handshake's pretty safe, but I mean, again, right? The best solution would always be to ask, but I want you to say that those are the easy ones. In our culture, that we have a bubble. We're pretty clear about our bubbles in our culture here. So I want you to think about so one, physical boundaries, cultural boundaries. Depending on who we're with and where we go, there are cultural boundaries that we are going to want to be aware of. What's that mean? Well, that means if I travel to Europe, somebody might greet me with right. And I'm like, you know, okay, so just, okay, that's the physical ones, but understand, I'm talking even within a family. Families, businesses, bigger systems have cultures, my friend. So the boundaries within a culture will also be different. Okay. Right. Have you had this? Had a couple jobs in your life? Anybody? So many. Can we talk about such a good story for another day? Maybe some cocktails needed. Okay. So, right. We've all had different jobs. Tell me the culture wasn't different. The expectations weren't different. The way that you were treated wasn't different. Absolutely. So you get where I'm going, that even the boundaries within that are different and important. The other way we want to think about boundaries is this: they're spiritual boundaries, right? I get to decide for myself what works for me spiritually. So that can be faith or non-faith based, but I'm just saying we get to be spiritual beings. We get to choose our own journey. Somebody doesn't get to define that for us. Intellectual boundaries. This is like where I have my own idea about how I see the world, and not that we can't expand and grow in that. I hope we evolve throughout our entire lifespan, but I get to define for myself who I am, what it means to be me, where I want to go with my life, what my life purpose is. I get to define those things. Part of that spiritual. So sorry, I tricked you a little bit, right? But I get to define those things for myself. And so when someone kind of wants to press in and help define my boundaries, like my sense of myself and my thoughts and what I believe to be true, that is a no. That is a hard no. Just exit out. Hard no. So when someone's pressing into the boundaries again, and one of the really messy ones is when we step in and we love somebody and they step in and we kind of don't even know they're doing it. Like we just love them. And so sometimes this is called gaslighting, and pretty soon their view is definitely the right view. And somehow I got here and I'm kind of like crazy. Like, how did I achieve? Okay. We're not going to get into that today, because again, whole nother subject, but I want to just define these different ways that boundaries show up in our lives, right? It isn't like one facet and we're like, oh, it's super clear and easy and black and white. And like, no, it's not. That's not how it works at all. In fact, it's super expansive, this sense of boundaries and how we're going to set them. And it will be different in every single scenario. So you really want to kind of have that awareness that every single space you're going to go in your life, you're going to be asked to do things, and it's going to be up to you to set the tone, that you become the boss of your energy. Wink, because I love that one. Oh my God. And you become the boss of teaching others how to treat you. So what you accept is what someone is trained to treat you within. Does that make sense? So if I'm willing to accept, if I'm like, oh, I'll bring the turkey and stuffing, if I'm that person, I'm training my friend, my loved one, my partner, my whomever. It doesn't, my whomever, colleagues. I'm teaching them that that's how I'm willing to show up. I'm the yes woman. Anybody like to be a yes woman? Anybody like to be the nice person? Oh God, right? Ooh, it feels good to be a martyr till it doesn't. Right? It's fun to be a martyr when it's within your choice, and it's not so fun all of a sudden when it's expected. Okay. So I want you to think, right? These are the areas where all of us can get stuck. Friends, I'm speaking from personal experience. I mean, this is all I have lived through. I've got great stories. I ain't going to tell today because we don't got time, but I really want to give the basic gist of really understanding that boundaries are us coming up to that line in the sand respectfully so, and not going over. Sometimes someone can go over, but we hold ours by setting a boundary and by saying, gosh, you know what? I'd love to do that. I'm so sorry, I can't. And that person goes, oh, so sorry. I had no idea. You're right. Totally forgot about the run. Could be that simple. Or, oh, well, okay, I guess that I'll have to, right? You have this person too. I guess I can just squeeze that all in myself. Okay. So you still want to hold the line. You're not going to cave. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, just let me know what I can do. You got to release that shit. But okay. Well, sorry to hear that. What can I do? I'm happy to bring a baker square pie or whatever. I don't, right? You feel me? Okay. This is what we're talking about. So it can be not that we're always both going over that line, but what happens is when we get mushy boundaries, when we get those kind of diffused ones, we are then creating a space where both of us are often going into that space, which is not helpful, right? So we can have skills. There are skills, radical self-care skills, and one of them is singularly boundaries. And I just wanted to speak to this because this was one of the, I'm not even kidding when I say this, truth. Singularly, one of the most common conversations I had in my therapy practice back in the day was this. whether it was something that somebody defined coming in the door for me, that they were like, oh, I've got this and this, got some depression, got some anxiety, got some family relational, blah, blah, blah. Inevitably, I'm not kidding, we circle back to this. That's how profound it is, this issue. And uncovering and understanding how to graciously and firmly love yourself enough to set those boundaries is literally a human piece of work we're doing here. All of us, male, female, otherwise, doesn't matter what gender is, doesn't matter what race it doesn't matter. We're all doing this work. So I just wanted to pop in, share a little tutorial, because I think that this is so important. It's important all the time. You know, it's sometimes we're heading into the holidays and we're heading into certain events and we're heading into places where it's going to be a little bit more challenging for some people. And I'm hearing a lot of people advertising that. So I was like, oh, you know, yeah, that's so true. And I want to talk about this because I really truly feel like it's actually a life skill. It isn't like a one time, like we don't just need the boundaries around Thanksgiving and Christmas. You need them all the time. And you need them both big and small. They come in every single kind of variation, right? And so really working with someone to understand what that looks like is so, so, so imperative. And there's a ton of examples. I'm not going to get them all here on the ways that boundary violations happen because they're so broad. I mean, we could sit, if we got 10 people in a room, we could talk about it till we were dead. I'm not even kidding. And so truly, it can look like so many things. And so I don't want to get to that today, but I did want to talk about the types of boundaries. I wanted to talk about that visual because that's actually an exercise. So in your mind, what you could do, you could sit down in your mind, visualize, is this person coming over my space? You can write it out. I have done this with clients. I would get out pad and paper and sit with them and diagram it. Who's over here? How far are they in? Like we spent time, right? This is one of my favorite, like you can do this on your own. So sit down and diagram. Right? When you're feeling resentment, you feel, ooh, like you're kind of pissed, sit down, write it out, take a look at it, and then get some support. And I don't mean the BFF is like, wow, well, cut her. I mean, that's great. I mean, I want that friend to be there for you, but I'm talking really consult with somebody who's really grounded and rooted, got a kind heart, got a good vision, right? They're like your person that you know is going to sit with you in devil's advocacy in the most loving way. And be like, well, I mean, you know, you were a little something there, you know, right? But really, you want to go to that person, that trusted person, and say, God, you know what? I'm kind of just navigating this and I'm not wanting to badmouth somebody. I just want to process. Can you sit with me? What do you think about this? And so I always find it just helps validate us a little bit. Like, I want you to get so good. You don't need to do any of that. I want you to get so good that the intuition's right there. Bam, this is not right for me. Bam. Just like that. You don't even need to sit down, you know, right? But in the beginning, we all need this journey. So I wanted to teach it. It's a super easy skill. I wanted to get you started on the way to think about this and arrange it in your head. And then I really want you to actually begin sitting down and outlining the various kinds of boundaries and the violations that they look like. What does it look like? So much of that was just helping my clients understand what it looks like. And then they would come back. It was the best. Yeah, send them away with a sheet. Okay, go away. Go write down who does what in your life. What do you do? Oh, got to own the things. You don't just gonna throw daggers. You're gonna look internally. You're gonna sit with the shadow. You're gonna, okay, all right, yeah. Oops, I do that. Yeah, sure, okay. And then you're gonna come back and you're gonna tell them. And then the world exploded. I'm not kidding. Every time they would be like, oh my God, and now I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm like, oh, I got you. Because I love that, because it just needed to be front of mind. And once we have it, like, oh, I got you. I see you there. I see what you're doing. Right. Easy, done and done. And then it becomes that quick. So it's with practice that intuitively you're going to go, oh, no, that feels yucky. Okay. Oh yeah. No, got it. No, thank you. Yes, please. Okay. How about something different? You'll get it. So I want to put this out there too, because boundaries are so very important. They are absolutely a non-negotiable in understanding self-care as a foundation, and radical acts of self-care are boundary setting 101. So I just want to put this out there. I felt like it was just a good old, well-rounded, everyone needs a little tutorial on this, a little reminder from time to time. Sometimes we get a little askew and we're like, oh shit, yeah, we gotta get tucked back in. So this is just your tucking back in. This is just that beginning space to start this work. And then I really encourage you, like I said, use this as a little exercise, and also making sure you're tapping into your really trusted resource for kind of that reality check and sitting with it to make sure it's like, yeah, that makes sense. Or, yeah, I see what you're saying. And I kind of wonder if you stepped into it this way and then they were a little confused, like that's what we need. We need those really grounded, rooted people that are going to hold space for us and walk us through this. So guys, this is Jen with Laughing Lotus Wellness. As always, blessings, love, and light to each of you. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please follow along, share it out to somebody. If you feel like somebody needed to hear it, could use a little lesson, a little tutorial, just hand it out, share it out. I love that. And please comment below. What areas have you been stuck in? Where have you find that you struggle the most with this? Because we've all been there, myself included. Where are your soft spots? Where are the spots you tend to get stuck? Talk to me about that in the comments, because I would love to hear about that. All right, you guys, love and light. We'll see you next time. This is Jen with Laughing Lotus Wellness, supporting you in your path to purpose.